Yo, 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 what is going on, Patriots Nation? That great new intro you saw is brought to you by JC Kirk. I am here, your full-time scientist, fuller-time sports fan, and a very, very happy man as the Patriots clinch a berth in the AFC East. The AFC Championship game for the first time since 2019. How are you feeling, Aiden?
Dude, it feels so good. It feels like it's been so long. I mean, in reality, I guess compared to other franchises, it really hasn't really been that long. But to kind of be back in charge of the AFC and like being one of the final four teams is like an awesome feeling. Especially because like I think at the beginning of the season we're like, man, if we make the playoffs, like that's huge. I never had like Super Bowl aspirations really in mind. I was trying not to be that kind of fan, but the fact that we're almost there is pretty wild.
I did not think it was not even remotely in the scope of what I thought possible for this season. And it's just a testament to everything that Vrabel's done, all the personnel decisions. So much had to happen right for us to get here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this team is 16-3 over the course of the 19 games we've played. And is that right? Yeah, 16-3. And we were that's what, a 12-game turn, 12 more wins than last year. Insane.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling, but as Belichick would have said, and as Vrabel is probably saying, job not done.
We're on to Denver.
And we're actually traveling to Denver. This is the first time in the playoffs we'll be actually making a road trip. But before we move on to Denver, let's talk a little bit about what we saw in this Houston game. Before we go too in depth with things, let's first overall impression of the game.
Overall, like I'm happy we won. That's huge. But I think the biggest concern I have is just turnovers. And that's just, I guess, mainly just fumbles when in the pocket. We can kind of dive into that more here in a little bit. But overall, I think there's some things that we're going to have to clean up, especially playing Denver. Like Denver's defense is just as good as, I mean, it may not be as good, but it's not far behind from Houston's, if at all. But they do have a coach who has won a Super Bowl in charge. So I mean, they got experience. They're not saying D'Amico Ryan is a bad coach, but I'd say they're a better coach team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird to say because of how much is new in the team, but it definitely feels like this Patriots unit is the more well-oiled and more polished of the two teams. But obviously that Houston defense was an absolute unit to contend with. I was definitely scared after watching that Pittsburgh game. Just their ability to disrupt, right? Like it just felt like Rodgers can get any sense of rhythm going. And for a while it felt the same way for May. And I am glad that we were able to kind of problem solve and somewhat figure out a way to find a pulse on offense while both creating turnovers and also just really not allowing much on the defensive end. And so yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about our ups. Let's talk about our downs.
You want to go first? Or want me to go first?
I think I went first with the Chargers game, so I'll have you go first this time.
Okay. I think the biggest glaring down is just, like I said earlier, turnovers. Something that I've been impressed with May is like he doesn't throw picks a lot. Like this is the first pick in a while I remember, and I would even consider it like half a pick because it was just a Hail Mary throw in the end zone to end the half. So it wasn't even like a bad throw or a bad decision. But the fumbles are just out of control. Like I think after this last week, he probably leads the league in fumbles. He was second with like 10. I think a few other guys had 11 this year. But the fumbles are just a gut punch. Just slide. You don't have to dive everywhere. You don't have to try and make a big play. Like, just take the sack and punt. He said it, and I think many coaches say it, but just like we have to finish every drive with a kick, whether it's a field goal, an extra point, or a punt. Like, we can't just be giving the ball over to our opposing team at the 40 or 50 just because we couldn't hold on to the ball. So I'm hoping he just figures that out. It's hard because a lot of those fumbles were like when he was starting his throwing motion. So I don't really know how he can clean that up there. But either way, something has to kind of be figured out, and I'm sure Vrabel and the rest of the coaching staff is on that right now.
Yeah. And to a certain degree, maybe it just comes down to something like not, just tucking it and taking the sack when the play's disrupting around you, cutting your losses and not trying to make a play. And I understand the instinct to try to make something happen, but especially when you're playing a defense as potent as Houston, you have to realize that this is a possibility. And if it was just this game, then I would say whatever. This is a really good Houston defense, but this has been a recurring issue. Obviously, we saw it last week as well. It's kind of been a thing throughout the season of Drake May just holding onto the ball just a little bit too long. And he's gotten a lot better at cutting down his errors in the passing game and that end of things. The interceptions have obviously gone way down, but then there's this other side of things that the fumbles really haven't. And it's the kind of thing that a shorthanded Denver team, for instance, could take advantage of. That's probably their best path if they want to win this AFC Championship game, is they look at this Houston game and be like, we can create some short fields for Stidham. We can make this game a lot simpler by taking the ball away. And so really ball security will be the most important thing moving forward for the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And I don't put it all on May. I think some of it probably a play calling thing. I think, at times maybe you prioritize quicker progressions and make adjustments for a really potent defensive line that you're facing. But at the same time, I also thought McDaniels adjusted well, and it's hard to just say something as simple as just take care of the ball better. But I mean, at some point you just have to see where the danger is and try to cut your losses.
I think the silver lining to it is like he's not making bad decisions necessarily. Like, it's not like he's putting the ball into harm's way of just like, oh, I'm just going to make this dumb throw and try and make something happen. He's just not, I don't know, holding onto the ball as tight as he should. I don't know if he needs a glove on his left hand like Brady had, because I know Brady had fumbling issues for a while, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. You don't want to do something that interferes with his natural throwing progressions, because we obviously know the kind of magic that he can create when he does throw the ball. But yes, I absolutely think there could be some work done there. But I do think part of it is just not putting the ball in harm's way, right? Like, to a certain extent, if someone's punching for the ball, if someone's hitting your hand while you're about to start your throwing motion, there's only so much you can do. So mm-hmm. the decision making of being okay settling for less but in a way that will protect the ball, though, in a way that will protect some disaster from happening. Because if Will Campbell doesn't get on get on that first fumble of Drake's at the very beginning of the game, we could be having a completely different conversation right now.
Mm-hmm.
We got lucky. Well, not lucky. Like we were fortunate to have really good defensive play, as well as lucky to be facing CJ Stroud. And it kind of allowed us a lot more room for error than we would have had in other games. But there are a lot of teams that we would have lost to playing like this, provided and if our defense hadn't played this well, we would have definitely lost. So the task just gets tougher from here. You play in a tough environment in Denver with an equally good defense, if not better. I wouldn't say better, but I would say an equally good defense to this Houston defense. And then you face a Seattle team that has the ability to disrupt on both sides of the ball. I'm making assumptions here, but it just doesn't feel like Seattle can be beaten right now. We'll see. But I mean, same is true of LA. The point being that the task just gets tougher from here, and so the little things that you can control, not having dumb penalties, not making foolish mistakes, taking care of the ball, all those basics need to be shored up.
Absolutely.
Let's see. For me, my first down. I was a little bit disappointed in how Travion played. I think he's not using his strengths properly. You have a running back who is really good when they can get ahead of steam going, really good in space, and they run it inside pretty much every single time with him, which just makes no sense. It's not a proper way to utilize his power, or not a proper way to utilize his ability, where maybe that's a better strategy if you're putting Ramondre in there. I do think part of that goes on to Josh McDaniels. I think you have to have a different set of plays in mind for Henderson and Stevenson and make use of their complementary skill sets. Otherwise, this running back by platoon thing isn't going to work. So yeah, I would have liked to see more there.
Yeah, I would have too. Like, he hasn't really had a big play in quite some time.
Yeah.
And I mean, he adds a whole different level to our offense when he gets rolling, and we're still not using him in the passing game like he should. Like, Ramondre and him are both like more than capable receivers. Like, there's no reason why we can't use them both on the field at the same time.
Right.
So yeah, I'm hoping we can kind of get things rolling with him against Denver. It would be nice to have him and Ramondre both just playing well, other than Ramondre. Ramondre's been playing awesome lately. And going from a super unreliable guy to like really reliable. Like, he didn't even fumble the ball this last game in the weather against that type of defense, which is pretty remarkable. But yeah, man, we need that extra, I don't know, gear or whatever he would say, of just the explosiveness that he brings to our offense. So yeah, hopefully he kind of gets rolling here soon. So we're playing some good defenses. We need some guy with like some breakaway speed or something.
Right.
So yeah, my second down. I was gonna say Travion, so now I gotta think.
And we can cap it at 2. I think their turnovers deserves like 5 downs on its own.
Yeah, it's like, I think, like, all in all, there wasn't a lot of things to really complain about, but there was just like one thing to constantly complain about.
Yeah, it's just the things to complain about were really bad.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with the turnovers, but like, just us not really being able to score off of the turnovers that we also got was pretty bad.
Yes.
Because I mean, we scored obviously the pick 6, and I think probably like a field goal off of another fumble, but like, Houston's defense kept them in the game for most of the time. Like, their offense didn't really do much except for like a drive or two. but like we were one of the top offenses this year. It should have been like I don't know, a back and forth battle of like, oh, this drive won this way. Like it seemed like Houston pretty much crushed us in the same way we crushed them with our defense. But I would have liked to see a little more, I don't know, just sustainability of a drive here and there than like 2 good drives or 3 good drives, I guess.
Yeah.
All I can really count drive wise was like the first touchdown after that first touchdown at Douglas, I was like, okay, like we might be moving this game. And then we had like the touchdown to Booty obviously was awesome. And then the touchdown to Diggs right before half was another one where I was like, okay, maybe we'll get things going. But like we were pretty quiet other than those 3.
Yeah, and I think one thing that the Patriots will continue to get better at as they kind of forge their identity as a team over the years, but figuring out how to capitalize on those little bits of momentum, it's something that Brady's teams did so well. And you look at a team like the Bears, they're excellent at it, taking a game where things aren't going well, taking that little smidgen of momentum and really capitalizing on it. And I think this current iteration of the team needs to learn how to do that a little bit more, because the defense can't do all the work. You create momentum with a turnover, put yourself in good field position. You have to capitalize on that, and you have to do what you can to keep it simple and to bring the ball down the field and not do anything stupid. Realize where you are, realize what's at stake. So yeah, I completely agree that we had multiple turnovers that gave us chances to ice the game as early as the third quarter, and we just didn't take them. And I mean, I think we scored 2 touchdowns off turnovers, one off a short field, one off one off the pick six, which the offense didn't even do anything for that. So by and large, the offense completely failed to capitalize off these. So yeah, definitely an issue. But yeah, as you said, this kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that we were turning the ball over. I guess for my third down, I initially was like, maybe there won't be 3 downs, but I think I have one. I think the left side is a problem right now. Will Campbell hasn't quite gotten to the form that he was at. I think it's less a physical thing right now and more of a confidence thing. He just you go without playing football for a few weeks, and you go immediately into this high pressure environment playing against really good defensive fronts. You have no time to settle in, and I think he struggled. It's one of the reasons that Drake is having all these turnovers. Now, you see that situation and you have to kind of adjust and get the ball out more quickly and all of that. But in reality, we should be finding ways to give Drake May more time, and maybe that's as simple as giving, especially against a front like the Texans, giving Will a little bit of extra help, utilizing the fullback position with Tonga the way we had in the past. There are things that we could have done to give Will Campbell some assistance, which is why I'm not putting him exclusively as the down. I'm just saying the left side of the offensive line in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is just them both being rookies. A lot of this will come with, like you kind of were just saying, experience. The experienced guys don't really lose confidence when they're out a couple weeks, because I think they just kind of know what it takes to play there. They've done it long enough. I think both guys are incredibly talented, and I don't know. I just see a lot on just like Patriots social media. People are like, "Well, it's time for old Will to move to guard," and this failed miserably. And it's like he had 2 rough games the last 2 weeks against just like really good pass rushing teams. I think it's a little early just to kind of call him a failed attempt at a left tackle, because I mean he did play well for most of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a work in progress. You can only accept. none of us were expecting Will Campbell to have to play against these playoff caliber defensive fronts in big playoff games. So, we take what we can get, but at the same time, like that is a bottleneck. And while they're young, you have to find other solutions, whether it's having that extra offensive lineman and sacrificing one skill position or whatever it takes, really. Because this is not going to go away. Every single team left has very, very strong playmakers on their defensive line.
Yeah, so yeah, he better hopefully get ready, because it doesn't get any easier. Well, I mean, maybe a little bit easier, but like a teeny weeny bit is easier, because the Texans are awesome. So I mean, I don't know if there's many people who look better than them, but it's not like, oh, okay, the Texans are out of the way, here comes, I don't know, the Raiders or whatever.
Right. You mean one of the only three teams we lost to this season?
Yeah. I still can't believe we lost to them, but
I know.
Are we doing 3 up or 2 downs or 2 ups? Sorry, 2 downs, 3 downs.
Well, I think this is my third down, so let's do a third down.
Okay, so last one. Man, I can't really think. I can't really think of one. Do you have a?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I thought there were some careless penalties, but at the same time, there were only 3 of them, so I can't quite put that as a down.
Maybe injuries. I think Carlton Davis left injured, and I mean, it was still a bummer Mac Hollins was out. He would have been, with his size and hands, it would have been nice to still have just like a reliable guy in the middle that he kind of does.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, Houston was also banged up in their own ways, so
right.
I think we could have when Dalton Schultz was playing, I didn't think we did a great job defending him. So that could have been a problem, and I think it was just another, the tight end woes are kind of continuing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we right up until he got injured, we did kind of adjust and play better on like the second and third series. So not going to complain too much about that, especially considering they didn't do much. Yeah, I mean, not much more to say in terms of downs. Again, there were some very glaring things, but nothing. Also, nothing exceptionally bad, or not too many aspects that were wrong. Just the aspects that were wrong were very wrong.
Exactly.
But we also won this playoff game against a really strong team by 12. So I think we can safely, without too much of an issue, go into the ups. For me, my first up, I'm just going to say the secondary play in general. Everybody had their role. Marcus Jones completely shut down the slot side of things. Great safety play from Woodson and Hawkins. Carlton Davis probably had the best game of his time as a Patriot. And then Gonzo, while he didn't partake in the whole interception bonanza, he did his own role. He basically had an island on his side. And
well, he did force a fumble.
He did force a fumble, and I said that I'm going to count that.
I'd count it.
So yeah, he played his role in the turnover game, and in terms of his just cornerback play, I mean, he first of all had some great tackles, some great hits. He's become more aggressive on that end of things, and he just really didn't allow anything past him. I don't know what the exact stats were, but I didn't really see much in the way of Gonzo getting burned at all. So just overall, really good play on that end of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's. Did Hawkins have a turnover or no? I don't know if he did.
No, I think it was Woodson.
Okay,
because
that would have been
Jones had
cool
one
if,
interception.
It would have been crazy if everybody in our secondary had a turnover.
I know. We were so close. Marcus Jones actually almost got 2.
I know. Off of the tipped or whatever it was.
Yep.
Bros.
Marcus had 1. Davis had 2, and Woodson had 1. That's what it was.
And then Gonzo had a fumble recovery, and that was.
Yeah. You get an interception. You get an interception.
Yeah, you just like
everyone gets an interception.
Overs around. Yeah, dude, that was awesome. That was like our defense played. They played pretty well all season, but like the red zone defense was good. Like they were just awesome.
1 out of 4.
And I'm gonna dive more into the defense. Because I'm glad you took the secondary because I thought our defensive line looked awesome. Like. I don't think Woody Marks is all that great of a running back, but like he had like the stats. I don't think he had more than 20 rushing yards.
I think he had 17 off 14 rushes.
Yeah,
and maybe he's not a great running back, but he also had 19 for 112 and a touchdown against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, which is like no bad defense either. But like
right,
the run stop is like I forgot just how big of a difference maker Milton Williams just adds to our line. Like Barmore played awesome, but like to have 2, I think PFF has them like both top 5, and they're like 2 and 3. So like they're both just insane. So like that helps with the run game, and then I mean just having the interior pass rush too, as well as like not only Landry but Chason's just like really developed the second half of the year.
Absolutely,
like he's been awesome. So I mean, just the D line was just murdering like their offensive line. So
right, Chason, Jennings continues to occasionally do good things. Now that we've realized that he's on the team. I do think like that we're probably like one edge away, I would say, from having a complete defense. But that's very doable with our offseason cap situation.
But I mean, our secondary is awesome. Like I love the linebacker group that we have too.
Oh my God, yeah.
Spillane's awesome, but then like Ellis and like Gibbons, even like who would have thought he would have been much of a contributor?
Christian Ellis has been a absolute revelation this season. He has been unreal.
Well, he's so fast too. Just to have him on like those QB spies on Herbert the last week was good.
And physical. And then having Tonga back, I think, kind of completed the interior DL. It was basically having all 3 of them do important things throughout the game. Obviously, we know how good Landry is on the edge as well. The consistency of Tavai and then Spillane, and just so much talent to go around there.
But yeah, that's my up, dude. I thought they were awesome. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's been a long time since we've had like a defense that's consistently got to the quarterback, kind of like we have just at least the last few weeks anyways.
Yeah, I mean this reminds me of like some of the times with when like Uche and Judon and Dietrich Wise were all like on their A game at the same time. Unfortunately, we had no competent offense at that time. It's just nice to have so many disruptors, but this has to be the best interior defensive line the Patriots have had in a long time. Maybe one of the best linebacker groups, and honestly, one of the most well-rounded secondaries as well.
Yeah, I mean, Davis would probably be a top corner on really a good number of other teams, but then
right?
just also have Marcus Jones and Gonzalez. Like, that's I
Yeah,
don't
and then in
I'm not
a
complaining.
safety duo, I thought all was lost when we lost both Peppers and Duggar, but Hawkins has really come into his own, um, and so his and Woodson has ended up being a
A steal.
surprisingly good draft pick, absolute steal. I thought it was a terrible draft pick at the time. I was like, "What are we doing?"
Uh-huh.
Trust the process. I trust these guys.
Yeah,
Um,
it's weird going from like Bill was kind of a horrible drafter, and then like,
Especially late.
but then this last year was like this was an awesome draft. I don't remember us having a draft this good with so many like immediate day one contributors.
And then followed by a free agency where we hit on almost everybody.
Yeah.
It's the GMing has been a big part of why we're where we are.
Mm-hmm.
My second up is going to be I'm gonna switch gears and go on the offensive side of things. Ramondre. Really, my only down for him was that I wish he had got more carries because things weren't working so well with Hendo. Continues to be a factor in the passing game. Had 4 receptions, but then had 16 receptions or 16 carries for 70 yards in a game that was otherwise devoid of offense. But he made something happen pretty much every time he touched the ball. So, and you would expect in a game with that many turnovers that he'd have 1, 2, or 5 of them, but he has really turned a corner there. I don't know if it's just someone telling him hold on to that ball as if it's like your unborn son or something, but he's holding on to that ball as if it's his kid. And maybe that's what needs to be told to Drake May. But he has done an exceptional job improving the ball security without it reducing his explosiveness and his versatility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, he's been insane. Just like I don't know, just pass catching back. He was ripping off some like it was like third run of the game. He had a 20-yard carry against them.
Right.
He looked awesome. And it's good to have 2 good running backs. Like one's not running well, the chances of the other one running well, it just seems like skyrocket for whatever reason. Like
Yeah.
Henderson had his games, Ramondre has had his game. So yeah, man, he looked awesome. I was hoping he got more carries too. It was good to see him still getting involved in the pass game. I think he had like 4 receptions, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's been like I even said last week, like he's been on a heater, and like this game, like he played well again. No touchdown, but still played well against this defense.
I think one of the things that a lot of people are forgetting is that like we, in all of the discussion about how easy our schedule is and all of that nonsense, people forget that we would like in normal circumstances we would have a 3-headed monster in those 2 and Antonio Gibson. And definitely we need to either re-sign Gibson or find someone that can play a similar role because things are thin beyond those 2. It would be nice to have someone else, but yeah, I mean even having 2 is a luxury. But I can't even imagine what things would be like right now with Gibson.
Yeah, for real. Even just as a kick returner, like he was
right.
He was making big plays happen. I'm gonna go with my up. I'm gonna do another offensive player. I thought Booty was awesome.
Yes,
I was hoping
to take that one.
You were what?
I was hoping you'd go there.
He looked like our number 1 guy. Like he had all the big plays. Like aside from the Diggs touchdown, it seemed like any real chunk play was Booty because he had that catch and run. He had He had a couple of deep targets that he didn't connect on, but man, that throw when he was covered by Stingley to the right in the corner of the end zone was like one of the best catches I've seen. We're like cold, it's rainy or sleeting or whatever. You have an all-pro corner on you, hardly any room, and you just reach out with one hand and catch it.
Yeah.
Like that was awesome. I think he's super talented. I hope over the next season, like I hope we re-sign him, and I hope he gets like more opportunities because I don't know. I'm not gonna say he's gonna ever be like a superstar, but I don't think a 1,000-yard season out of him is a crazy expectation by any means. Like it's pretty doable these days with how offenses are and having an extra game.
I mean, this is his third year. I don't think it's crazy to think that he could become a superstar at all.
You think so? I mean, he was a crazy recruit out of college,
right? And I mean, I consistently look at that. There were a lot of rounds lately that of Belichick drafting that got me, wondering what he was doing. But I will forever remember the 6th round of 2023 where he drafted Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, and Bryce Behringer, all three of whom are starting on this team. 3 6th-round picks, all of them are starters. That right. I mean, who does that?
No one.
And it's one of the things that makes him the greatest of all time. But it was an underratedly pivotal round of drafting because, yeah, I was not expecting this out of Kayshon Boutte. But it's been obvious since really that very first touchdown by Drake May, ironically against the Texans. He and Kayshon have a certain chemistry. They're synergistic. They vibe. And as long as Drake May is a quarterback of this team, Kayshon Boutte has a place on this roster and on the starting lineup.
Absolutely, dude. I don't know. I became a fan of him last year, but now even more so. I'm like, this guy has all the tools. Like,
yeah. Can you believe this guy was on the roster bubble? I can't.
Yeah. I remember we're like, we don't know who's going to be cut. I'm like, we hope not Boutte because he's like,
right.
But like, yeah, it was crazy. There was just so much up in the air, and now he's just like a key part to our offense. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's had a couple of like quote unquote breakout games, but like this was he had a lot of he had like pretty much all 3 of his catches were big plays in a big game. And like, I don't know, man, that one, I keep going back to that one-handed catch. That's a hard catch to do when it's dry, but like to be covered by an all-pro player in those conditions is just like, that's insane. Like the guy,
absolutely,
I don't think he gets enough credit for like how well he's progressed over the last few seasons.
Also, don't mind me as I go put my charger in.
About to die.
It's dying, but it won't die. Just like my Patriots. There we go. Yeah. For my third up, I'm gonna put Zach Kerr in there. I just think he deserves such a big shout out for the way, because there was the player level execution, but I also thought there were schematic. There were some really good schematic elements, and so he is showing attributes of a veteran defensive coordinator, even though he's the guy that subbed in for Terrell Williams. Mm-hmm. He found a bunch of different unique ways to blitz. I felt like the blitz packages kept changing up. I felt like we were constantly trying different schemes on the interior. Man coverage worked really well for us. in the Chargers game, but I think we saw a different matchup this time and went more in the direction of zone coverage, and it helped and got the safeties more involved, and that helped tremendously. And so I think his schematic abilities, his ability to see the game, and Vrabel's ability to kind of trust him to do all this. And I'm sure Vrabel is also having his role in things as well, but a lot of the nitty-gritty specifics of how the game's being called have worked really well. And I thought even the adjustments as the game went on, Houston did look kind of comfortable offensively early, and that did not last very long. And I think a lot of the credit for that goes to Zach Kerr. I think I've said this a few times, but I'm really, really doubling down on it now that he needs to have a defensive coordinator role this season. I'm not saying that we need to replace Terrell Williams with him, more so that maybe they can join forces and share the position. But he needs to continue being heavily involved in the defensive play calling, because what he's done this season, and especially these playoffs, has been excellent.
Yeah, I hope we can make a not only a spot for him, but to be like a vital part of, like, I don't know, play calling or something. Like, he shouldn't have to. He's really earned like a prominent role on the defensive side of things. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna, like, if we chose to make him the full-time defensive coordinator, I would not complain. I don't like my only hesitation is I don't like the idea of demoting someone because they weren't available due to factors out of their control. Yeah, Terrell Williams has some tools to give, and if they want to, if they're both willing to share that position, I think that would be ideal.
Yeah, but I mean, a testament to how awesome he's been is, like, I can't remember if we talked about it after the Chargers game, but like a handful of players were talking to Spillane being like, we have no idea what like formations or coverages you guys were running. Like, you guys disguise stuff so well. Like, we had no idea what you were doing.
Right.
Which is like insane, like to have the best of the best being like, yeah, we were confused a lot of the times. Was like, that's awesome. Like, we need a guy like that. Like a Sean McVay of defensive coordinators.
Right. And I mean, you can't put the essence of what you can't put the abilities of what Belichick did into one person, but you can put those abilities into 4 or 5 people working really well together synergistically.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of Belichickian elements, I feel like, to this defense, but kind of adapted to today's game and today's speeds.
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, like you were saying though, he's been awesome. We need to keep him somewhere, and reject any on his behalf anybody who comes to offer him any jobs or interviews. Reject him for him, because he needs to be with us forever.
Are we allowed to do that?
Or what?
Huh?
What did you say? Are we allowed to do that?
Are we allowed to do that?
I don't think so, but
we also need to do that for Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, we have to do it for everybody. I guess I'll just say my third up was, like, I think Drake May belongs both in the up and the downs. Like, he played a pretty bad game, like, Drake May wise. Had a lot of fumbles and everything, but he also was the one who threw the ball to Booty, put it in a place where only he could get it. That touchdown to Diggs was awesome. And then, I mean, also that fourth down play to Douglas was a good ball. He was even tipped, and Douglas made a good play on it, but like, it was still a good thrown ball. Like, I think we'd be talking a lot. What's that?
Couple nice runs in there too.
Yeah, we'd be talking differently about him if he didn't have those fumbles and it was just him struggling a little bit.
It's easy to forget. He had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, when he was throwing the ball, he didn't look bad. It was just a lot of the times he was having trouble getting to a point where he could throw the ball because the pass rush is so good.
Yeah, and I mean, if you had told me before this offseason that he would outplay Justin Herbert one week and then outplay CJ Stroud the other week, with which whatever you can say whatever you want about the fumbles and all that, but those statements are objectively true. I would tell you that you're crazy, and that we're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But we are there yet. I mean, he has shown that we're already there.
I mean, it's like what's even crazy is like regardless if we win the Super Bowl or not, like we have the tools and like the capital and everything to be even better next year with like the cap space that we have, and like a lot of these guys are like free agents. We've signed a handful of deals on their first year. Like we still have money because this is Drake's on a 2 of what it's going to be his 5-year contract. Like to be even better than we are this year is like, it's pretty crazy how that's like a possibility.
I think it's a strong possibility. You know, there are numerous deficiencies that I think we can address. I think our record will go down a little bit on virtue of the schedule, but I think our playoff viability will be even better.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a team that could still win it all.
Yeah.
I mean, we basically need to beat a shorthanded Denver team and then play one really good game.
But I mean,
out of our
like,
minds once.
Like, let's say we go to the Super Bowl, right? It's like, okay, we're going to be playing against Seattle, who has an awesome defense. We just played 2 awesome defenses, barely won. But I mean, again, it's not like we're playing catch up. Like, we have a really good defense in our own right.
Right. And at that point, and we know the battle tested concerns are gone. We've thoroughly been battle tested.
Mm-hmm.
I am no longer worried about that. This game took that worry away from me.
Yeah. So I will say, like, the fact that Drake had 3 touchdowns was good. Like, it wasn't like a Stroud game where it was bad play after bad play after bad play, and you're like, ooh, this guy has no confidence. Like, he made the mistakes, but like he still didn't show like he was playing scared, I would say. He was a little more conservative, which I think was good, just like trying to not put the ball on the ground, but it wasn't like the guy afraid to make throws or anything.
Yeah, and I think his resilience is worth mentioning. You know, I was saying the same thing after the Chargers game, that he had some slip ups, had some bad moments, and then completely made up for them. And I mean, to have the ability to go for some of these risky, sharp throws, you know, and continue being aggressive on the offensive side when you've been burned this many times, it takes I would normally say that it takes a more experienced brain than he has, but he continues to be wise and resilient beyond his years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of synthesizing all the battles that he's taking part of, and he has the perspective to kind of say that, oh, this game's not over, we're still up, I can continue to play like I've been playing, just minus the ball security issues, and we have a real chance here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so with that, just need some time to type the thumbnail here. We're on to Denver. We're making taking a little flight out to the Mile High for what I thought for about 30 seconds was going to be an AFC Championship game of epic proportions, with a duel of two second-year standouts of Drake May and Bo Nix, but Destiny didn't have it that way. Bo Nix unfortunately ended up breaking his ankle?
It's like I think he had a fracture in his ankle,
That's
but like broken bone in his ankle or something.
And you know, as much as it does make the game easier, it's a bummer. I would have liked. I was excited for what would have been a really interesting matchup. You know, obviously Bo Nix is a great guy, emerging quarterback. Like, he's had his struggles, but he also was just fresh off a really signature playoff moment. So heartbreaks for that. You've got to. That just sucks to lead your team to an AFC Championship, to win a toe-to-toe battle against the Josh Allen, and then to not even be able to see it through. It sucks, and Drake May had nothing but nice things to say about him. All that. I wanted to just address that before we get into the breakdown of this. But it's going to be Jarrett Stidham that we face, and obviously for those who have been Patriots fans before this year, which I hope is most of you, I hope we're not just talking to a bunch of bandwagon fans here. You will all remember that Jarrett Stidham was a 4th-round draft pick for New England and played a few years on this team. So this is the Jarrett Stidham revenge game, and this is also the little Jordan Humphrey revenge game. But in all seriousness, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I think it's another matchup against like a really good defense. I think it being in Mile High will be a challenge, but it'll be nice that I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but I can't assume it's going to be as bad as it was just this last week.
Yeah.
So, we should be getting Mac Hollins back, which is significant to our offense. And I mean, the fact that we're playing against Jarrett Stidham, who hasn't thrown a pass in the last 2 years, like, it's a pretty big deal, especially with the defense that we have. The level of play that our corners, our linebackers, and our edge and our rushers can perform at is like gonna hopefully give him fits. I'm hoping, like, the big thing that I want is like we've been saying it all year, just like taking out the run game just really just turns their offenses one-dimensional, and especially with Jarrett Stidham, like that's what we want to happen. Like, we want to take away RJ Harvey, so all that's going to happen is just make him make big plays and see if he can do it. So I'm hoping that that we do that pretty early on. And I'm hoping this is the get-right game for Drake, because the last 2 weeks have been pretty bad. Like, he's made good plays, but a lot of bad plays. Like, we need a signature playoff Drake May performance here against defense who like have really good pass rush. Like, I mean, they have great. They're great all along the defensive side as well. So it's gonna be another bloodbath, and I'm hoping that our offenses actually can make a number of good drives.
Yeah, in a way, I would like this to be a get-right game, but the solution to a get-right game is not to play the Broncos are not exactly the kind of team to play if you're trying to have a get-right game on the offense.
And I guess what I mean by get-right game is like not saying he needs 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, but like if he gets 220, 2 touchdowns, and like even just 1 turnover.
No,
I don't want a turnover.
It's got to be 0.
I don't want it to be 0, but I mean, even just like 1, I think would be way better than last week's.
Yes.
And I'm just saying 1 just to lower my expectations because of how good this defense really is. Not saying that like I want him to get over, but
especially, you look at what Denver did last week, and one would be phenomenal because Josh Allen had 4, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, and so in a way it's a horrendous matchup for the Patriots offense. It's a horrendous matchup for a group that's trying to get over their turnover woes. But you look at what you're facing on the other side, and you have to say that the Patriots can afford and should try to play a little bit more on the conservative side. We all know that that's what Denver is going to do, right? Mm-hmm. But I think on, first of all, on the defensive side, I think, as you said, the solution would be to shut down the run game as much as possible. McLaughlin and Harvey did pretty much nothing against Buffalo, and Bo Nix kind of had to do all the work. They don't have Bo Nix this time. And I'm not going to, we can't take Stidham for granted. I think he has a very, very nice arm. It's just that arm doesn't always throw it to the right place and to the right team. But he obviously has Like he has a very strong arm. That was his biggest strength at both Baylor and Auburn. He could just sling it. He could make plays down the field. And so
yeah, I don't think the drop off from Bo Nix to Jarrett Stidham is anywhere near like Mahomes to Minshew or any of these other like backup quarterbacks. And that's not saying Nix is like a bad starting quarterback, but like Stidham's a very capable backup.
But it's an experience gap for sure because on one hand, Bo Nix just came off a really important playoff battle. On the other hand, Stidham, as you said, and I couldn't believe this when you said it, but I checked it, and you're right, has not thrown a pass this year. And now you're shoving him in this occasion against this defense. I mean, what better to do? I would say Zach Kerr should keep drawing up the blitz packages, make Stidham absolutely as uncomfortable as possible, and get in his head. I don't think the turnovers are going to happen at first because he's going to play conservatively. But you rattle him enough, you get him on the ground enough, and you could start to get those mistakes out of him, especially if you can start building a lead. Obviously, on the offensive side, I think their run defense is surprisingly vulnerable. They have a great pass rush. They have a great secondary, a good group of linebackers. But I would say where they're least amazing, because pretty much every group in that defense, every position group in that defense is at least a 7 out of 10. But I would say where they're at their weakest is probably the interior defensive line. James Cook had a day. And you look at the way that Ramondre is playing right now, this could definitely be a get-right game for the running backs. Mm-hmm. And I think the key to the offensive side of things is get things going on the running in the running game and get the play action as a real option to get Drake May kind of settled into the rhythm of things. And Drake May is a rhythm quarterback. Once he's settled, he's settled. He wasn't, he didn't quite, it took him about a half to settle into the Chargers game. It took him about a half to settle into this Houston game. But once he did, it was very difficult to stop him. I think similar story here where get the run game going, get Drake May, going with some short to mid-range passes, and then just let the rhythm take it from there.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of threats for that Broncos defense. They I think the left side is again vulnerable, and it's something that we're going to have to try to compensate for. Obviously, having had Nick Bonito on fantasy this season, I know exactly what he can do on a week in and week out basis. They've got great linebacker play. They've got an excellent secondary. So I think when you've got weapons like that, I'd say keep it simple, play to your strengths. Get the quarterback running game going. It wasn't ineffective. It wasn't nearly as effective of a cog against Houston, but I would say, especially looking at Josh Allen's ability and what he was able to do in the quarterback running game, I think it's a very valuable tool for this game for New England.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we gotta have Drake use his legs a little bit, and not just be utilized as a passer, but also a rusher. I think that was a big reason why we won that game against the Chargers too. Is like, okay, Ramondre, like you don't have to do everything. Like May is going to be our leading rusher, and like that was played a pretty big role, especially right before half. So I mean, if he can even just break off a couple of those runs or pick up the first downs, like when nothing's open, like that's football. It's just like getting first downs and trying to live for another play, another drive, whatever. And like he needs to do that, especially against like a secondary like this.
Yeah. And I will say, like, looking back at the Broncos right now, the last two competent offenses they faced, because their last two regular season games were against the Chargers without Lance and the Chiefs without Mahomes. Lawrence torched them. Jordan Love had a couple of turnovers, but had a productive passing day, and Josh Jacobs had a good time as well. Lawrence did really well. Travis Etienne had a productive day, and then the Bills also, yes, they turn over the ball a lot, but they did have a productive day. Josh Allen had 3 touchdowns. James Cook had 117 yards. So there are ways, there are solutions. And I think the Patriots have the kind of versatility and well-roundedness to at least give this defense fits. And if they can cut down the mistakes, they can take advantage of some of the defensive momentum that they'll hopefully get and get some things going on offense. How do you think this game goes?
I think it could be another low-scoring game. I'm going to say 24. I think we win this. I think it's going to be like 24-17. I do want to say, though, like, as we get ready for this game, I can't help but just think about the Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl and us losing to Nick Foles, the backup. So I'm just, like, hoping that history doesn't repeat itself here.
I also think, Nick Foles is a different level of backup than I would put Jared Stidham at. We already knew that Foles had potential to potentially rise up to that occasion, and that was very much a system designed for quarterbacks to succeed. We've seen that Wentz probably was more a product of that system. But yes, we have to be wary, right? But I don't think that's a message that you need to tell this team. They have enough frustration, I think, from this Houston game,
right,
that they're going to want to take it out. They're going to want to have I think it's important beyond just winning to have a game that you can feel good about going into the Super Bowl. Because I think we win this too. But I think we have a game worth feeling good about. I think the Patriots win this game 24-10. 27-10 is my prediction. I just don't think this game is going to be particularly close. If we could give Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud these kinds of fits, I don't think Jared Stidham has a chance. I think he'll start the game out by having a couple conservative drives, maybe a first down, and then a punt and things like that. Slowly but surely, we start to penetrate, get him to start making mistakes, and I think the game opens up pretty easily. I think Drake May has a get-right game. I'm also going to say 1 turnover because after looking at the kind of turnover luck Broncos opponents have had lately, it feels hard to believe that he'll have none. But I'd say 1 would be an outing worth feeling good about. And I think Ramondre does his thing again. I think the Patriots, can't believe I'm saying this, the Patriots booked their trip to Santa Clara for a 10th Super Bowl appearance.
I'll be so excited if that happens.
My goodness. We were playing for the number 1 pick.
Yeah, just last year. We were mad because Joe Milton lost our chances at getting Travis Hunter, and then here we are 1 game away from Super Bowl aspirations.
Right. And even if the season were to end this weekend, I think you have to look at these 2 wins, and feel like this has been a product to be very proud of. And this is just the beginning. You've got cap space. You got a coaching staff that's most of them are in their first year of this iteration of their time in the Patriots. You've got cap space. You've got a bunch of players that have just played a year in New England and are ready to really dig their teeth into things. But I don't think we'll be previewing an offseason next week. I think we'll be previewing the Super Bowl. And just for fun, What's your prediction for the other side? What do you think happens in the NFC title game?
Oh, I think this one's to be a shootout. I think so. The last time they played, the Seahawks won on what I thought was a pretty lousy call.
Yeah.
I think the Rams get back, and I think they win 31-28.
Wow.
And hold on a sec, just keep going on that, and then that would be just like a cinematic, just Super Bowl of the two MVP frontrunners against each other.
They should hold off the if that's what happens, they should hold off the MVP decision and just say whoever wins this game.
Just give it to Drake after.
Yeah. I would like LA to win. They're the team that scares me slightly less. I think the Seahawks win this game. And yes, a lot of this is recency bias just based on how just kind of unbelievable they looked against the 49ers. Darnold only had 100 and something passing yards, and they scored 41 points because this team just played complementary football. This defense has kind of embers of that Legion of Boom. And then Darnold's playing out of his mind lately as well. Kenneth Walker obviously is a big threat at running back. He's continuing to play well.
Charbonnet did tear his ACL though.
That's true.
Pretty much all of it will have to be on Ken Walker and whoever they have as their backup now.
I think Shaheed, who's also a serviceable back.
He's a receiver though.
He's a receiver. I don't know. I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm just glad we don't have to play it.
Yeah, we don't have to play it.
I also think I think the 49ers got in their way a lot in that divisional game. They're banged up beyond belief, and it's a miracle they made it this far.
And just taking the initial kickoff to the house was just like a huge tone setter. Like it's hard to come back after that.
Yeah, away from home.
Yeah.
And then you have a turnover and downs and a fumble, all of which lead to turnovers. I mean, Seattle did exactly what we need to do more of, which is completely take advantage of your opponent's mistakes.
Yeah.
And I was impressed that the Rams were able to find a way past the Bears' magic. That was a phenomenal game. I think we're in for a stiff test no matter what. It's going to be and I also think that regardless of which of those two teams we end up facing, should we beat Denver, it's going to be a fun game to watch for people that are not us. We're going to be freaking out. But for neutral observers, that'll be a nice, fun game to watch.
A relaxing game, not for us though. Yeah.
Yeah. But right now, I feel relaxed. Patriots are in the AFC Championship. It's time.
It feels like the old days, man. The good old days of just another year, another AFC Championship game.
Yeah. Exactly. And if we can properly build on this year, I do think that could be the future for this team. More consistent. I cannot see a scenario in which we don't make it back to the playoffs, for instance, next year.
Yeah.
And I'd be shocked if we don't do more than that. I think it's just there's just too much talent and too much room to continue to improve. I guess I'll put it this way. Nothing about what we are building feels unstable right now. Everything feels that it at least has a few years left in it. some of a lot of our best weapons are very young, and our coaching staff is fresh. Everything feels fresh, and so it's good. This is a good situation to be in. I feel like Robert hasn't made it on to any of our ups and downs lists because he's not on the field, but to be able to kind of shoulder that little mini downturn that we had, and to make some tough decisions to kind of ensure future success for New England, I think Kraft has done a great job in his role. It feels nice. This feels right. The Patriots should be synonymous with just eternal winning. And the rest of the rest of the division's in turmoil. Sean McDermott got fired.
Yeah, did you hear that? As of now, Mike Vrabel is the longest tenured AFC East coach.
Excellent. Love it.
McDermott fired, McDaniel's fired, and Aaron Glenn just was fired as well. So the whole AFC East are now two coaches.
Excellent. How everything should be. It would have been a miracle if Aaron Glenn had kept his job.
Yeah, that one I figured was going to come, but McDermott getting fired and honestly McDaniel's getting fired were big surprises to me.
Wait, did he get fired? I don't think so.
McDaniel's?
No, Glenn. Glenn is still the coach.
Is he?
Yeah. I think Vrabel just got hired a little bit before him.
Oh.
So I was gonna say I saw a lot about like people being shocked that he didn't get fired. Great, another 0 interception season coming. Yeah. That has to be one of the craziest stats in NFL history, that a team managed to go the entire season without an interception. Meanwhile, we had 4 yesterday,
and a lengthened season too.
Right. We had 4 interceptions yesterday.
Yeah.
Especially, they played a decent portion of that season with Sauce. Not every team can be like us.
Not every team.
Well, we'll see you next week, Patriots Nation. And I'm manifesting it. We'll be previewing a Super Bowl.
It'll be a good week next week.
It's going to be a nice week. And if not, then I don't know if you'll see us next week. I might have to go in hiding for a little bit. I might need a week to process. I might need an extra week to process.
I probably will too. I'll probably call off of work and all of that.
Yeah.
So I can cry.
Bereavement leave.
Mm-hmm.
I think bereavement leave for the loss of a sports team should be granted.
Absolutely. I think, especially during the football season, it's gotta be granted.
Yeah. But we don't have to worry about that. I think we win this game. We'll see you next week, Pats Nation.